Hello, welcome to Astrology and Energies for the week of May 8th through the 14th. May. How'd you guys do with the eclipse? How was that? So, the full moon, lunar eclipse in Scorpio. That one hit me pretty hard. But I have a lot of Scorpio, so that tends to happen when you have a lot of planets in the sign that the eclipse is occurring. And so anyway, I hope my videos were helpful in supporting you through the lunar eclipse. And here we are on the other side of it, and we have a lot of transformative, fast-moving, fast-changing energy for the month of May as we continue through 2023 and beyond. And so let's dive in and take a look at the transits and a couple other topics that I have for you in support this week. Let's go with it. Okay. Oh, let's see. There we go. Okay. So, we are now on the other side of the eclipse. So you might have even had like a post-eclipse hangover. I kind of did, or even some post-eclipse clarity. And that clarity will get much clearer as we move through this week because Mercury does finally go direct on the 14th. So we have that. This is a breakthrough level week. We have a couple of transits this week, or at least one transit this week, and transits coming up in the coming weeks that are going to create some major breakthroughs and major shifting. Let's see, high level of self-acceptance. This is something I have been stewing on for a long time, is the amount of self-acceptance that's going to kind of be required for those of us that are unique, which we all are. We are all unique in this world. But those of you who are kind of stepping out of the box, and those of you who are maybe light workers or spiritual workers in any kind of capacity, you know, the level of self-acceptance is increasing. And then I want to talk about victim versus responsibility. This really came up for me, and something that I felt like I wanted to talk about. Okay, the transits this week on the 9th. Where am I? On the 9th at 2:42 in the Central Time afternoon. Sun conjunct Uranus. This is something that happens annually with these outer planets. The sun conjuncts them, and it just illuminates what's already happening. You could have some major breakthroughs this week. I do want to point out, though, that this is the same degree. The Uranus Sun Uranus conjunction is the same degree as the Mars North Node, the Mars conjunct Uranus and the North Node on July 31st of 2022. So if you want to think back to what was coming up for you, what was going on for you on July 31st, 2022, that's the degree that the Sun Uranus conjunction is happening. And so if y'all want to know, that was the day that I went sober from alcohol, consciously sober. I've been sober many times in life, but this was the first time I did it when it wasn't like a fitness or lifestyle challenge to do so. I consciously chose to go sober. More about that in upcoming posts. On the 10th, Venus in Cancer is going to trine the South Node and sextile the North Node. So sextile is a minor transit. I do not talk about minor transits a lot. I usually just say minor transits, but also I'm trying to learn and grow and be more comfortable talking about some of these minor transits, or minor aspects rather. So the Venus in Cancer, Venus is very like nurturing. This is where that self-acceptance thing is coming from, piece is coming from, is Venus in Cancer is a lot to do with accepting and knowing and acknowledging what you need, who you are, how you need things to go. And so from a very basic perspective, this is if you are someone who is, I'm just going to use myself, if you are legally blind and you're in a public place and you need to, let's say, find a bathroom. I use this as an example because it's very practical. Every human needs to go to the bathroom, but if you are a blind person, it's hard to find a bathroom, and you have to ask to know where a bathroom is in a public location, or you need to ask for assistance to be, walked or escorted to where the bathroom is. And so I use this as a very basic example because it's a primal need. But it's perfect, right? So if you're hungry and you need to eat and you don't, you know, you need to find out where a restaurant is, you know, to be able to, you know, ask for where a restaurant is, to be able to ask for where a bathroom is, to be able to ask for what you need. Do you need to get some rest? Do you need to drink some water? Those sorts of things. And I feel like this is very much about Venus and what Venus and Cancer is about. Cancer is nurturing. It's where the moon rules. And Venus is about our values and our worth. And so those two combined. So it's going to trine the South Node and sextile the North Node. So this is really taking a look at what do you need to move forward. North Node is in Taurus. We have a lot of Taurus energy. You know, we're sort of, I don't want to say done with the South Node Scorpio because obviously it's still there, but we're moving into that. Like the nodes are about to shift in mid-July. And so really this is an opportunity to get very clear about your advocacy for yourself, expressing what you need, what you desire, and then knowing who you need and what sort of support you need to take charge of where that is going. You know, there are many conversations in my coaching arena around like being demanding or being bitchy. And it's not about being demanding or being bitchy, but when I gotta pee, right? When I need to go to the bathroom, I need to go to the bathroom. When I'm hangry, I'm freaking hangry. And I think this is really what this is talking about is this Venus in Cancer aspecting these nodes. It's what do you actually need in order to get where you want to get? What goals do you have that you want to create in a tangible, practical way, North Node Taurus? And what do you need to get there? And be very clear and precise. No more of this vagueness of, well, maybe I need this or maybe I need that. I don't know. No, what do you actually need to move forward? And can you move forward with what you've already got? Do you need, you know, if you want to do a podcast, do you have a computer? Do you have a recording device? These are very simple things. You can record a podcast on the voice memos app on your iDevice if that worked. You know, I mean, I did it. I recorded my podcast in a closet in a basement apartment on my iPad with voice notes on my iPhone. That's how I did my podcast, and it was fine. I never had complaints about the sound quality. So it's basic things like what do you actually want to do in order to move forward, and what actually do you need, and can you use what you currently already have in your possession, skills, those sorts of things. All right, let's move on. I could beat that horse to death pretty bad, actually. All right, May 13th is Venus trining Saturn. This could create some clarity, maybe even some restriction. So kind of a pullback or evaluate. Saturn is restriction, but it is Pisces, so it could get a little bit illusionary. But Venus is kind of like letting you, it's just another reminder of like, what do you need? How do you know, and are you sure? So you kind of have to go through, the universe tends to do this, right? We say we want something and then it's going to kind of pop you some questions of what that's worth. On the 14th, Mercury comes out of the Gatorade, it goes direct, comes out of the microwave, whatever it's in, it comes direct. And that might just even create a lot more clarity around what you're up to. The May 17th through the 23rd, we will have a T-square as Jupiter moves into Taurus and squares Mars in Leo, which will move there on the 20th in Leo, and squaring Pluto in Aquarius. This could get really dicey. Mars in Leo. Mars is ruler of Aries, which is a fire sign. It is the war sign. It represents masculinity. It's kind of the warrior. It's fire. And it's moving into Leo, which is also fire and ego and heart. And Leos kind of have that reputation of being over the top. In some cases, doesn't have to be. They can be courageous lions and be very calm and soothing too. But Leo combined with an Aries planet, things could get feisty. And then we have Jupiter, of course, switching signs. That always creates a little bit of a upset in the energy as things are shifting from Aries into Taurus. And then, of course, Pluto in Aquarius, an energy we're still getting used to. We've been in it for, I think it's been 8 weeks. It's 11.5 total before it moves back into Capricorn. And that's not until June. So I'd say we've been in it for probably about 8 weeks. And so it's an energy we're still getting used to where this whole Pluto and Aquarius journey is going. So I really feel like the 17th through the 23rd could be a very intense time for all of us in our personal lives and in the global events of the world. Moon cycles, moon's going to start in Sagittarius where it's at right now, fire sign, clearing up from the eclipse hangover, and it's going to transit to Pisces, which is a water sign, and where Saturn and Neptune are currently sitting pretty. So it's going to make some aspects as it moves through this transit, as of course, as far as being opposite Mars and Venus in Cancer when the moon is in Capricorn, which is the moon's fall position. Or is it detriment? I always get those mixed up. Might be detriment. The moon does not like being in Capricorn. The moon is very nurturing and maternal, and Capricorn is a workhorse. So either way, it does not like being in Capricorn. And then when it gets to Aquarius, it's going to make aspects to, of course, Pluto because it's in Aquarius, but also all of the planets. It'll square all of the planets that are in Taurus. And so we're going to see some crazy energy around the moon transits this week alone. And luckily, Jupiter will not be a part of that mix until next week, early next week. We won't see the moon. It'll square Jupiter, but it'll square Jupiter in Aries as it's coming out of Capricorn, if that makes sense. All right. Things to do. Y'all just pray and cross your fingers right now because it just started storming pretty bad, and I hope my power doesn't go out right now because that could be interesting. Okay, spiritual hygiene, of course. Continue journaling, continue meditating, continue connecting to yourself, what you want, how you want it to go. Sage smudging to cleanse the air. If you don't have sage smudge or don't feel comfortable with that, you can always do a crystal cleansing or just do some like cleansing meditative music. 432 hertz of music will kind of rebalance you from the heart center. Connecting to yourself, connecting to the earth, all of those things, really staying connected to, yourself and your alignment of your chakra centers. Commit to something for 90 days. This is really important. I have been doing, because this is a time when you could really make some massive transformations and transmutations with regards to what you're up to, and committing to doing the thing for every single day, even if it's for 5 minutes for 90 days, will definitely shift your mindset around it. I have been doing Instagram lives. As I'm recording this, I'm on day 126 of 365 Instagram lives. And it's every day of showing up and talking about this work, whether it's coaching or astrology or tarot or oils or supportive tools or just being human and showing up honestly I haven't shown up in my PJs quite yet, but definitely no hair, no makeup, and just in my dirty clothes from working in the garage or something. So it's are you willing to commit to showing up to what you want every day for 90 days, and not only commit to it, but actually do it. This is really a week about taking action steps towards what you are after. Let's see. So commit to something, and then of course see my moon post for the moon cycles and a supportive aromatherapy for that. I really love those, and thank you to the person who put me in check to make sure that they were visible on YouTube properly. So that's been a whole learning curve for me, and I appreciate that a lot. I've had a lot of those this year. It's been wonderful. Okay, let's talk about deep self-acceptance. I have been working on a post for this. I swear to God, I've written it 100 times and I don't feel like it's saying what I want it to say. But you have to embrace your unique self. This is my favorite line. I wrote this when I created Divinely You. Divinely You is still a thing. I'm just taking on Sarah Waggle because that is my full name. So I'm just taking ownership of it, which is something that I have been avoiding for many years through my own healing process and my own healing journey. I've changed my name several times online. All right, so you are here in this time and in this space for a unique purpose. And I think this is so important for us to all remember, but it's also important for all of us to remember that it takes a lot of courage and guts and spine and balls and boobs to stand and hold the line for who you are and what you believe and what you want for yourself. I think one of my friends posted yesterday that, you know, when she chose to leave teaching, she got questioned. When she chose to leave corporate, she got questioned. And I'm telling you, from my own personal perspective, when I chose to leave my job, my full-time job, which was 12 years ago, 13 years ago, almost 13 years ago at this point, it's been like something people have doubted for me since then, even though I knew the day I left that job, and ever since then is I am convicted that that was the right thing for me to do, was to leave that job. And even to this day, 13 years later, people will hold it against me that I left that job. So you are always, as a unique person in this world, you're always going to do shit that people are going to be like, what the actual fuck are you doing? And it's a matter of you holding the line and standing your ground and doing the things that are best for you in the moment. But be very clear about it, right? It takes a lot of courage to have the experience of life that you want to have. I am truly a big believer that we were not meant to suffer in this life. We were meant to enjoy this damn life. Have fun, do the things, explore the things, be a part of this earth. Um, yep, being different takes courage. It takes courage, it takes guts. I didn't put the balls and the boobs on the slide, but you know, I say balls and boobs because my boobs are bigger than most balls. So there you go. I hope you appreciate that. But it takes a lot of courage to accept yourself, knowing that you will not be accepted by the people around you, right? That you're going to make choices in this life that people are not going to understand. And guess what? They don't have to understand it in order for you to do it. And as long as it's not being toxic and hurting someone, including yourself, I feel like it's the right decision, right? I kid you not, if I could drive, I'd live in a van. When my friend introduced the concept of van life, I went searching and I was like, holy shit, that's totally what I'd be doing. I'd be living in a damn van. That just looks rad to me. You basically get to travel all over, but then when you need to be somewhere, you have your means to get there. And so, but anyway, so self-acceptance. So part of my self-acceptance is accepting and acknowledging that I can't have that kind of a life by myself. And that's okay. I get to travel in other ways. All right, let's talk about victim versus responsibility. This is not a time to be a victim. This is not a time to blame others, to, you know, be in reaction or response mode. This is definitely a time and space to um, be at cause and make conscious choices for what you want. So victims are at the effect of the circumstances in their life, right? They're at effect. They respond, they react, they blame, they, you know, all of the things. And most people are so victim, they don't know how victim they are. That was me. I called myself a power victim. I was so victim, I didn't even know how victim I was. Okay, taking responsibility requires being at cause or in choice of what you want. So if you see people that are in maybe like a bad relationship or a bad job and it's not working for them, but they're at the effect of it, like, well, at least I'm in a relationship. Well, at least I have this person that's willing to do these things with me, even if they are unhappy and dissatisfied overall with the relationship. That's being a victim. Let's see. Taking the reins requires taking the reins requires owning what you want and acting as if that's what you want. So I talk about this a lot when you want to manifest something, create something. And again, we're in this week where a lot, we have these opportunities to create, but you have to show up and create the thing, right? You can't just say, well, I want to be a writer, but then you only write once a week. Well, to be a writer and to manifest the career as a freelance writer or an author or whatever, you've got to write every day. And even I've noticed that, right? I call myself an author, but I hadn't written in a long time. And I sat down to write this weekend and I was like, you can tell I'm out of practice. This shit makes no sense. But whatever it is that you want to create, right? If you want to create cool social media posts, but you're not learning new graphics programs, you're probably not going to learn new social media posts, right? And so all of those things. What else? So this is a coaching tool that I use with clients. I've used it with myself. I've had coaches use it with me. And then of course here I said victims respond and react to circumstances. Acting from ownership. I did bad grammar there. Acting with ownership requires proactive choices and making choices within alignment. Boy, that was a really crappy written sentence. I'm sorry. But yeah, when you want to take ownership of something, you have to make proactive choices, and then go from there. And there's always going to be crap that like comes up in the way. I mean, that just is, and it's all about how you choose to be in those circumstances, right? I mean, it just is, right? I'm not in a place where I'm not in a place where I'm happy. I don't like being in the Midwest. I don't like being in a small town, but here's where I am. And I'm also well aware of why I'm here and the circumstance that brought me here. And that's where I get to take ownership. That's where I get to take, action towards what I want to create different things, right? Which is why I do these videos. It's honestly what drove me to do the videos, the video content that I do, is because I was like, well, I'm going to be here. Like I want to be here for the reason that I am here, but I do not want to be here and fall into a deep depression over why I'm here and get dissatisfied and disconnected because of it. So I just chose that it wasn't going to control me and how I show up in the world. Okay. So that's what I got for you this week. I mean, I could talk about so many other aspects of this. There's like the toxic positivity aspect where, if you like have negative thoughts and you try to like kick them out of the way. I think I talked about that with regards to like the inner child, and being kind to your inner child and things like that. But this is definitely a time and space where if you want to play victim, you're going to get ran over by the universe. It's definitely a place where, space where if you can show up and be like as responsible and as clear with yourself and what you want, your goals and everything as you can be as clear as you can be, taking action every day, whatever that looks like for you, and whatever project you're up to, then you'll be rewarded for it. And this is always the case, right? This is always the case. But if you say you want something and you're not taking action and you're just like, well, if it happens, it happens, but I'm just going to go with this for the time being. That's being a victim. You're just reacting to things around you versus taking the reins and being responsible, taking ownership of what you want and how you want it to go. And so we all fall into this, right? I was such a power victim that sometimes I do fall back into victim ways of being. And I do fall into the traps all the time. I do fall into them. And I think it's important to acknowledge those because I don't want anyone to ever think that I am perfect, that I am healed, and that I am like, sunshine and rainbow pooping unicorns. That's definitely not what things are like in my life. But I do have practices that I take on so that I can show up on this camera and on my iPhone camera and show up for you and for myself in the way that I want to show up for myself and for you, right? I don't want to show up here as a depressed fool, but I don't want to say that I don't go through it, because that would be denying a part of my life. But there are practices that I take on to check in with my higher self and my self-worth so that I can show up that way. So that's about as honest I can be with you in this moment. I just gave a lot of personal information. But anyway, so that's this week. I do have tarot videos for you. And there will be moon cycle videos as well. And there are posts on my other accounts if you cannot access the YouTube account or the YouTube post. And so thank you for bearing with me as I continue to navigate everything that I am up to and creating and all of the things. And I will talk to you on the next video. We do have a first quarter square, our third quarter square moon, and a new moon coming up very soon. So be looking for those videos. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Love and appreciate you. Bye for now.